An Alaska man who was charged in Lewis County Superior Court last year for allegedly driving another vehicle while firing a gun at its driver is now charged in federal court in the connection to the same incident. The Lewis County case against Two Dogs Wasaga, 39, was dismissed without prejudice in December after county prosecutors had difficulty getting in touch with alleged victims. This is an excerpt from the Lewis County Chronicle, written by Jaron Witzenberger. I am Lynn Renfagan, and I'm here to persuade you guys that not all jails and prisons are able to rehabilitate inmates. Therefore, we need to work towards more rewarding rehabilitation programs for inmates, like the one I just explained above. I make this bold statement for 3 reasons, being that 1, by going through these programs, ex-convicts are able to recontribute to society positively. 2, it saves taxpayers money. And 3, that they are less likely to reoffend or re-victimize. Let's go right into main point number 1, that being that they contribute to society positively. So, in a statistic by the Washington Post, it said that out of the world's population, 5% of the world's population is in the United States of America. In the same study, it said that 25% of the world's incarcerated population is in the United States of America. That's quite a large percentage, and it's a little disheartening to some, but to me, I feel like that's actually surprisingly low compared to what it has been in the past, and it's been decreasing over the last few years due to these rehabilitation programs that have been put in place. These programs can be on-the-job training, vocational training. They can be counseling, such as alcohol counseling, drug counseling, and they all are focused on bettering the inmate, which is really what the goal is. After reading a study on inmate named Holmes from the Chronicle of the Horse, which was established in 1937, he was a man who was sentenced for a minimal of 2 years, and then he ended up getting in more trouble in prison and ended up getting 8 years tacked onto that. And he said that he was in solitary confinement for a while of that, and he said that he had hardened up, and he said that he didn't really know if he was going to be able to go back into society because he was so mentally taken back. And he said that he just didn't feel that that was going to be something he was capable of. But through the program, he was able to reconnect. He said he was able to find his self-worth, and he was able to understand that things are bigger than him and that there is things that need help. This program was also one that was able to take wild horses out of the BLM management lands that the government has been paying for and put millions and thousands of dollars into. And these are also the same programs that take service dogs and train them as well, providing those people with service dogs, which is super important, which creates revenue for the prison as well, which leads me right into my next point, is that these programs are beneficial to taxpayers because they create revenue and they boost the economy because these prisoners are allowed to have jobs right out. By going into vocational programs, they are able to have these job skills right out, and they're able to have a really impactful resume, and they can go and start in the job market and boost the economy by paying taxes and being on a salary. Also, by the same horse training programs that I talked about earlier, they do take those horses out of there, which is saving the government money. And by selling those horses after their training, they do also create revenue for the prison, which is also extremely beneficial. It was said in a study from a Los Angeles school in California that if you were to put $1 million into a prison, you would save 360 crimes from happening. But if you put that same $1 million into a prison rehabilitation program, you would save 600 crimes. Because when you go and you have that one-on-one interaction with those inmates, it really is important to them. It really does make them feel like they can do better, they can feel better, and that they're doing better for themselves and for the other people around them, because they are working towards it, because it's something that they have to work up towards and they have to build up towards. So that's why that's really important. And then as we move on to point number 3, is that they are not as likely to re-victimize or reoffend. We're going to talk about how these inmates from a Northwestern University study, which was there's about a little over 400,000 inmates that were studied. 43% of them did not re-victimize after they had went through vocational or educational training programs through jails. And I found that super awesome because that just really showed that these inmates are learning and working towards that betterment, and that if it's helped a small percentage after a couple more years of continuing this education, they're going to be even more people that are going to be able to benefit from these kinds of rehabilitation. And the opposing viewpoint that I've noticed from a few of the studies and the articles that I had read was that people are worried that the people that are in jail are really just holding true to that hardcore mentality, that they are gritty and hard and they're just going to fall into these crimes in the back circles and communications and whatnot. But after looking at a lot of that stuff, it's not necessarily true. By the requirements to get into these programs, by putting that in danger of not being able to get on the program, you don't want to run in those circles. You won't get in. By not listening to the rules, you'll get kicked out. And by being in these programs, you don't have the time. The horse training program that I mentioned earlier, they go out there and they bus them all out there for hours upon the day, and they come back and they're so exhausted they don't want to do anything. Or if you're in education, you're probably studying all the time because you're one of those new educational students. So a lot of these inmates aren't working towards more criminal behaviors. They're working towards more civilian-like behaviors, if we'd say. So let's do a little recapping right here. I am here to persuade you that not all jails and prisons are able to rehabilitate inmates. Therefore, we should be working towards better rehabilitation programs for inmates. My 3 reasons were: 1, that inmates are able to contribute to society more positively; 2, that taxpayers are saving money; and that 3, inmates are less likely to reoffend or re-victimize. My call to action to you guys is to donate your college textbooks to help diversify the education in jails and prisons. And with that, I thank you.